What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related and occasionally some other stuff when it sneaks its way in there. I am your host, JERMgaming, and I'm joined tonight by Joel.
Hey, folks.
And Dave, who is not a small town farmer.
I just can't match Joel's level of enthusiasm. I need more coffee.
Really? You can't match that level of enthusiasm?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was definitely medieval farmer, but I just can't match that volume and enthusiasm yet. Good show, Joel. I'm proud of you.
Joel's face, what it's really saying is, gosh, I wish I was playing my PS4 right now. So, Joel, you want to play some Destiny later?
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Destiny Bros.
Screw you guys.
Yeah, I saw your email about DayZ Experimental. I don't really want to play it tonight.
I was gonna say Dark Souls too, but you're
Jeremiah,
pretty far ahead of me. I'm still.
I have the shotgun. I have the shotgun.
Are you going to give me the shotgun?
I will give you the shotgun.
Yeah, it's not
I have
good
20
enough.
rounds of ammo for it.
I have a shotgun already in Destiny. I have a space shotgun.
I've got a space shotgun.
All right, we begin the podcast. Why do I even bother saying what we begin the podcast with? It's never the same. We're beginning the podcast talking about Patreon. Patreon is, of course, the way you guys can support the podcast, and we greatly appreciate it. This week, we have two Patreon supporters. The first is James, who does not have a cool gamer tag name that he gave us. So, James, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. And then the second one is Steven, or Singularity80 in chat, who blessed us with a very gracious donation to the podcast that we greatly appreciate.
But not enough for me to say their names.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They paid all that money, and they're not even getting their money's worth.
All right. Lay it
Joel's
on
got
them.
that low voice from being sick, too. Let's do this.
All right, Joel. Say their names.
Say their names, guys. I would just like to thank you, James.
Don't do the laugh. Don't always do the laugh.
I'm trying not to do the laugh, but it's funny.
Okay, James is FPG Space Ops, apparently. Or Spec Ops.
What did you say, effing Space Ops?
FPG. There were other letters in there.
FPGs. And now we've got FPG Space Hops or something.
Space, never. All right, keep going.
Wasn't that the subtitle of Alien Isolation? Alien Isolation, effing Space Ops.
Hey, James, you're going to need to hop into TeamSpeak. If you start speaking over Skype.
Hold on, I have no sound.
I will destroy something that's precious to you. Oh, he can't hear me because... James, go to TeamSpeak.
Okay.
Okay. And now, Joel, what's the second name? Don't read
In the
his
left
first...
corner is Singularity80.
Don't read his last name. Good, you didn't. Okay, I was worried for a second.
You should just not type it in there.
All right. I'm sorry.
That'd probably be a smart thing. I'm just saying.
With Google Docs, the cloud's so secure, guys. It's fine.
All right. Well, Singularity donated, and he sent us an email. I'm going to read just a piece of it. He didn't send it to us to be read on the air. He just sent it to us to explain why he was donating. And he gave a very generous donation, and we greatly appreciate it. And he said, "What? Basically,
User joined your channel."
Skimming a bunch. Hi, James.
Yeah.
I'm skimming a little bit, but basically what he says is he donated to us because of, in his words, resonance. You and the Casual Shenanigans team speak in a much more player-centric and realistic voice when it comes to games. For being relatively smaller channels, you have immense production value and variance in what you provide, and I find it very, very endearing that you don't just start playing Minecraft or any of the other subscriber magnet content. One of my favorite CSG videos of all time was Jeremiah making fun of people using Titanfall to boost their views and sub counts, that was my Titanfall max ultra settings exclusive first day review I posted. There's a super clickbaity title.
But it totally paid off for them in the end, guys, right?
He said, "What do I want? I want you to keep doing what you're doing." He is happy. He says happy to donate so we can keep going and making the podcast better and better. He doesn't want to change anything about what we do. He just wants to help us do it. And obviously I'm skipping a lot because he wrote a very awesome email, which Dave and I have both read it, and we very much appreciate it. So thank you, Definitely. Singularity. And
thank you for not donating so much that I feel like we're gonna put a tier that's like once you get past 4,000, I'm just off the podcast.
Joel has to start doing stuff.
Well, what do you mean start doing stuff? I do enough in DayZ.
I think.
That's not the direction we're going.
I don't think he meant that. I think he meant like you're gonna start doing stuff.
No. I know
stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Stuff. I'll say it one more. Stuff.
That's what I was talking about. Like DayZ.
Stuff.
You don't know the stuff I've done in DayZ, or do you?
No one wants to know what you've done in DayZ.
Meet me in the store, south side of Cherno at midnight. I'll show you what I can do.
Be enthusiastic or something. I don't know what you're doing. Okay.
Let's
Joel,
be
you
honest
gotta
here,
stop
Joel. The
wearing that
time of day
shirt
does
on the
not matter to you at
podcast.
all.
Sorry, what, James?
He's got to stop wearing that shirt on the podcast.
Which shirt?
Joel.
A green shirt.
Yeah, what's wrong with Joel's shirt?
Because
Does my shirt look like it's weed?
No.
Looks like
Yes.
Canada to me.
Yeah, it looks like a maple leaf.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what most people say. A maple leaf. They think I'm wearing a Canadian.
Does James think it's
when you're
weed?
sitting like that, yes. But when you start leaning forward,
Maybe that's
lean
what.
forward.
It just looks like
Lean
a
back
little
bit,
triangle.
Lean back a little bit.
All right,
Good.
it's very very
Well,
thick
I don't
weed.
have weed
It's
on my
American.
mind
It's
like
very
you.
American weed. Very overweight weed. All right. Oh, James, by the way, welcome. Sorry, you hopped in right in the middle of something. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Also,
All right.
guys in the chat, check out Jeremiah with that chat overlay.
That
Say hello
super-
to the internet.
That super pimp chat overlay. I bet you can't tell how I'm doing it.
JERMgaming Twitch, Google Chrome. How do you do it?
Did somebody change the background on the Google Doc to gray? If so, why are you the devil?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
who
really
did that?
bright on my screen.
Are you kidding me?
I'll fix it.
You want me to be reading like black stuff on a dark gray background? All right, Satan.
How's that?
Why?
Dave, you can
Why?
always just turn your brightness down on your screen.
Yeah, I'm running 3 monitors right now. My face is bathed in electroluminescence.
Just use your keyboard
How's
to turn
that?
your screen down.
That's
Oh, wait, you don't have
good.
a Mac,
That's
so-
better. I can't believe that's actually making a difference for you.
It's not at this point, no.
Then put it back to white. White is best.
No, white is not good for the environment.
White's good for everybody. All right, it is now time to start the podcast with the second part of the podcast, like we always do, occasionally first in the podcast, which is the news.
News time.
All right. So the crew. The crew, I'm not excited about it. I got into the open beta. Or closed beta? I don't know. There was a beta.
Is that the one where you like drive across America or something?
Yeah, like a
Or
super
it's huge,
shrunk
open
down
world.
version of America. You're driving across America if like Chicago and New York City were 10 minutes apart from each other. But it's like small recreations of each city. So yeah, the idea is you're driving across America, like pulling off crime and racing. I don't know. You've got like a gang, your crew, as it were, which is supposed to be filled of people you actually know. Good luck getting through Ubisoft's matchmaking servers. That's all I'm saying. But
But Far Cry 3 works so well with co-op.
so the crew was delayed. Originally it was supposed to come out earlier this year. It was supposed to come out way before now. It was delayed till November, and then they just pushed it back to December 2nd. And there's been a little bit of hullabaloo over the crew this week. Some articles
Big words.
resurfaced from like April this year where one of the developers of the crew seemed to confirm that the crew would let you buy performance parts with real world money for your cars.
Oh, here we go.
Good
Well, no,
idea.
it's controversy. So this is one side of it. It was supposedly in April. They confirmed that yes, they said everyone will be able to progress. We won't stop anyone from progressing if you don't spend money, but the people who do spend money will progress faster. This is a full price game. This is a $60 game that might have microtransactions, but it blew up on the internet. People are saying today, no, that was originally going to happen, but now it's not. But I didn't find any hard sources. People just said that supposedly at a recent video game
It wouldn't be the
conference.
first game.
Yeah, but it just
Dead Space 3 had it.
really. Oh,
Yeah,
to like buy health or something?
Not by it was like buy weapon upgrades, various things like that.
But that's not a
Dead
competitive
Space
game.
3. No. Well, I had multiplayer, I think, but it was frustrating because you're playing through the game, and the most annoying part is there's this part where you have to literally like go on a crazy amount of loot to just upgrade anything, an insane amount. That it was nothing like that in the last games. Or like if you play Resident Evil, you kind of naturally progress through the game. You get stuff, right? You find new
Right.
items. This one you had to backtrack tons of areas, use this little dumb robot thing that finds stuff, and you never got anywhere. I didn't even know. It took forever to upgrade anything, and that's why I was like, okay, freaking A, I might pay $5 just to finish to play and get all my weapons and actually.
That's what
play
they
the game.
want.
It frustrates you so much you want to pay to finish.
Well,
They
because
win.
I enjoyed the actual game. The story was good, but I stopped. I played 1 and 2, but I couldn't finish 3 because I didn't feel like grinding away just to upgrade a weapon just to play a game. I'm like, don't make it harder just so I have to pay. Like I already paid $60.
That's one thing I can at least appreciate about Battlefield 4. I hate that they have like their weapon shortcut packs for people who don't want to unlock all 800 weapons in the game, but you can use the basic weapons, like the first weapons you have in the game. You can be super competitive with them. Like it's in Battlefield, the weapons what really it means is they don't matter which ones you use because they're all so similar and they're really just different skins for the most part. But you can
How
use
many
any
5.56
weapons.
rifles can you have in one game?
Exactly. You can use any weapon and be competitive if you know how to use it. So at least you can give them credit for that. But in the crew, again, we don't know. So it was definitely at one point they were going to have microtransactions. They have not publicly confirmed that they're not now, but they haven't publicly talked about that at all since then. They have said that with the delay, they're going to have a second beta. We don't know if the delay was for the beta or if they were having a delay anyway and they decided to hold an extra beta just to help smooth things along. Assumedly, they're having lots of development issues, and that's the reason that they're doing this, is because the game's
How did
just
the
not
last
ready to
beta
go.
run? I actually missed it.
It ran fine. I mean, for me, I only played it for an hour or two, but it felt like a pretty ready-to-release game. But it was a tiny little portion, so for all I know, the rest of the map wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know, but it seemed to be running okay. It didn't seem to have any huge performance issues or anything, but Battlefield 4 ran well in the beta as well, so...
It was a great beta. I don't understand.
All right, next news item. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, which is the... How would you describe it, Joel? You're a Metal Gear fan, right?
Short
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
Right, like it's like a preview.
Yeah, I mean it's like a. Did you guys ever play the demo for Just Cause 2?
No.
Well, there was. I had it on Xbox. It was like a trial.
Mhm.
It gave you 30 minutes to play the game, but it gave you one small section. Just do whatever you want. It's basically that. It took me about maybe 4 hours to beat it. And I didn't even collect.
But it's $30.
I didn't even collect like 80% of the stuff you could do in it.
Right.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm a huge fan of Metal Gear. Love it.
I'm a huge
Graphics are
fan
pretty
too. It just
awesome
seems
looking.
weird they're charging like $30 for it. It's like what Gran Turismo's done before with their prologue games. Like Gran Turismo 5 Prologue was a hacked down version of the game.
I don't know. People like me, I guess I'd buy it.
Yeah, you bought it full price.
Yeah, well, I like it. I like games.
I like games too. It seems weird that they're like, why not put all those resources into actually just finishing the main game? I guess it's just to whet people's appetite since it's been what, like 7 years since the last Metal Gear
it's been
game.
an insane amount of time. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4
Wow.
came out right when the PS3 pretty much came out. Or,
Yeah,
you know,
and it's been confirmed now. It's confirmed to be releasing on December 18th on the PC. And this version, the PC version, will have 4K resolution support, more simultaneous light sources, more simultaneous models, and increased shadow resolution.
Ooh, I like all of those words.
We'll see if it runs well, but yeah, so it should be
if
good.
the new one comes out and it comes out within the launch window when it's not like 8 months after, I think I might get it on the PC if I have, especially if I have an upgraded video card by then.
If you mean get the real game, the
Metal Gear
Phantom
Solid-
Pain?
Yeah, because I think I would actually really care about having insane resolution.
Oh yeah, for Metal Gear. Well, I mean, I'm excited to see how it looks.
If it works
'cause
fine with the controller on the PC, I'd be excited about it. So
Guns of the Patriots looked amazing on the PS3 for the time.
it's
Like that was the first PS3 game I think I was really blown away by how good it looked. So I don't know. I'd be up to.
if it's a 6 months delay, then I'll just get it on PS4. It's not going to be a huge difference, but if it's about the same launch day, I would get it.
You'll get it twice.
Yeah, Joel, how many times you bought Grand Theft Auto 5 so far?
Okay, I get games usually twice because I have people who have only PC and I have people who have console only as well. So, okay, here's the thing, right? I was thinking
Joel's
this, right?
just a better friend, guys.
No, I enjoy.
He's like,
I
no,
enjoy
but I
playing-
mean, if you say so.
Okay, I like my single player games where I can just play anytime. I don't have to wait for you guys to join, or I don't have to wait for a group night to play. But I was just thinking the other day, like I really like the online MMO Star Wars. I really enjoyed it. I played like 40 hours of that game.
The Old
Just
Republic?
Yeah, the free version, the online one. Yeah. And I was thinking, I wish you guys played it or enjoyed it, but I know that will never happen. So I'm like, a game that I really enjoy, I've just stopped playing because it's way more fun playing with friends and other people that are going to be doing it. But since you guys are way more into DayZ and Battlefield and things like that, or
Well, there's
not
too
really-
many
not really
games.
Battlefield,
There's too
but-
many games for us all
Yeah,
to
so,
play.
so it's like it kind of sucks that I'm like, oh, a game I really want to play, no one would buy it with me. So there's sadness.
I bought Destiny to play with you.
I know. No, I mean, well, that's so
You bought a
I'm glad.
console
I'm glad we
and
finally have. I'm
Destiny.
glad
I
we
was-
finally have a few.
I was
things
gonna
in
get a
common.
PS4 eventually anyway. Okay.
I gave you an opening there. Come on.
Actually, Joel, it made me sad. I was flipping through some old videos today. I was just curious, and I stumbled across an old DayZ video. It was me, you, Chris, Dave, Yoshi, and Aaron, Mr. Chicken. We're all just like tooling around out in the wilderness. I was like, oh man, Joel sounds enthusiastic. His voice quality's terrible because he's using an Xbox 360 headset, but he sounds like he's having such a good time.
I know. I wonder if I'll ever get back to that. I don't know.
I think it was a few nights ago when I think it was me and Debbie and somebody else was playing. I definitely had a Joel impression. I just like every 10 seconds I just go, "Ah, freaking zombie!" Ah, for like 10 minutes. Like it's Joel. It's like Joel's right here with us.
Well, just so you guys know, I've never played any game longer than DayZ. So that is the longest game I've ever played in my life. So like that, other than just going, oh, I don't like it anymore. I'm like, I have played so many hours of it. Like I get to a limit where I'm like, I don't know if I can play a game any longer than that. Like it just gets old to me. So that's why like DayZ's gonna have. I mean, it has to effing really impress me with brand new stuff to bring me back. Because I'm like, I'm ready for like. There's so many awesome new games coming out. Like The Division is gonna be amazing. I'm enjoying Destiny, Bloodborne, Uncharted 4, Metal Gear Solid 5. It's like I don't want to spend 800 hours on DayZ.
If you listen carefully, you can hear Sony executives rubbing their hands together as Joel talks.
Maybe H1Z1? Would that tempt you back?
Well, I'm gonna play that. I don't think I'll play it for as many hours as I played DayZ, but I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah. Oh, me too, definitely. And I think I'm at the point with DayZ where like, still play it, semi-regular basis, still enjoy it, but I'm not in like any huge hurry to play it every single day or every week or anything. Like I'll play it as major content updates. Other than that, I've got plenty to play. By the way, is one of you not muted in Skype? Is one of you have your mic on in Skype? I'm gonna guess James because you weren't here when we started.
I've got the little
Joel
guy down there.
No, I'm muted.
Huh.
I think it's Dave. He's got the mic open. Remember?
No, I'm on voice activation.
Huh.
You are?
Who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
You're just hearing voices in your head.
no, I'm hearing static in the background.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Well, it's
let me
not
mute.
Joel and I.
It's an error or something.
Who could it be?
Everybody mute yourself.
I'm gonna mute in just 1 second.
What is that?
Joel, mute yourself real quick. On TeamSpeak.
I can't hear anything, but I got fans going. So
All right,
I
yeah.
don't know.
All right, anyway, we'll continue. I'm sorry for derailing everything again. Moving on to the next item. CD Projekt Red talks about The Witcher 3. Dave, this was your thing. Would you like to talk about it?
It was. There's a bit of controversy. Some screenshots came out, and I think, Jeremiah, I showed one to you, and you actually noticed right away that the ground cover was a little bit sparse. I mean, it's wintertime, it's snowy, but, I mean, just compared to the density of vegetation in Witcher 2, I mean, it's just not quite what you would expect.
Right.
Now, the summertime screenshot, that's pretty nuts. But a few of the people were pointing out that, like, it's just, not quite as mind-blowing as the Witcher 2 stuff was at this point before launch. And a rep from Red came in and said, well, obviously, the game's not finished yet, and a lot of that detailing happens right before the game goes live, that final layers of detailing. This is where it gets interesting. A user in the NeoGAF comments came in and said, look, guys, I have insider info, and I'm afraid that the PR train is going way too hard for Witcher 3, and the team has been on overtime for a year now, and the PR team is overselling, and the main design team can't keep up with what they're selling. And we don't know exactly who he is, but he was vetted by a moderator on the forum. So
Supposedly.
Supposedly, I mean, it's a pretty reliable forum. It's not like we're getting this off of 4chan or something.
Right, but did the moderator pop in and say, "Hey, this guy's legit"?
He said, yes, this user has been vetted, and I can confirm that he does have insider information, but that's all we can say. And of course, he is getting, I guess that would be second-party insider information.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say how accurate that is, but as someone who has some very high hopes for The Witcher 3, I hope that it's not exactly true and that things continue to improve at the studio.
The thing I find interesting is the supposed insider said that the studio's PR team is, quote, creating an overblown vision of a game that doesn't exist, end quote. Which my first comment to that is, duh, that's what
Which one of those games don't
That's
exist?
what PR does, though. That's what your PR team is for. I mean, that's not like the entire time the game's in development, they don't know if the game's going to be good. They're there to talk up the game and how amazing it's going to be. They don't know that for sure.
This concept art means the game will be good.
Right, like you can't start talking about a game 2 years before it releases like, oh guys, this is going to be insanely awesome. You want it to be. Of course you want it to be. You're making the game, but you don't know it's going to be amazing. So I just find that interesting. Like, why would that surprise anybody that someone would say they're overselling or they're selling a game that doesn't quite exist yet? It's not done. Now, I'm very excited for The Witcher 3, but it would be very much a letdown if it wasn't as good as we're hoping it's going to be, as good as they're saying. But the stuff they're saying is very lofty. Like, they've put out some very lofty goals, like the crowning achievement of the RPG genre. You have to deliver when you say stuff like that. Like, that's not just it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's not like Fable. Like,
yes, that's true. Nothing can compare to.
I mean, I was looking at the screenshots. I mean, it is snow. I mean, we have not seen any of those environments like in gameplay yet. I mean, other than that like wide sweeping shot of the mountain and stuff. And that mountain shot looks amazing.
I mean, all the video we've seen looks amazing. I'm sorry,
but I don't think we're even close to the ability to really have this crazy rendered grass to infinity and beyond.
No, probably not.
I would only be worried, like, I mean, since even after seeing the Xbox One at E3, that one was pretty amazing looking. And I was like, if Xbox One is looking that good, I'm not worried about the PC version. Like, I don't think anyone should be worried. Like, it looks pretty freaking awesome and dense in that, just on the Xbox One. It's going to be awesome for PC. So I'm like, why even...
The Witcher 2 had a kind of rough launch, but it was more of like gameplay and balancing versus graphics. Like, graphics out the gate for The Witcher 2 were... I mean, incredible. That game still holds up
insane.
So well.
But honestly, I think the video footage. What? Did I cut you off?
Like the perfect.
Oh, I'm sorry.
synchronized.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. It was just we're just on the same level. Keep going.
But yeah, all the video footage we've seen really looks amazing. So even if some of the individual screenshots don't hold up, like I'm gonna wait and see the game in practice before I before I get too upset about that. And part of me is a little bit fanboyish about the whole Witcher universe. So.
What is going to stop you from buying the game anyway? So why even?
Well, no, this is one of the games I probably would buy for no other reason than the story. But no, if I won't buy it until it releases. I might pre-order it on GOG because I get such a discount.
20% off. Yeah.
This is one of the things, Joel, where like I don't like it. It is a discount, and the first two games were so good. I have no doubt it's going to be a really good game. Like I have no doubt I'm going to get my money's worth.
This studio still has goodwill.
I guess, yeah, that's true. Like this studio hasn't totally screwed me over yet.
A lot of the reason why I pre-order is I go, hey, am I going to wait 7 months to play this game to get it for way cheaper than I got it? Or am I going to get it within, like, am I going to see the reviews and go, oh man, I want it, and then I get a week later, so really there's no difference. Either pre-order it, get a slightly better bonus or something like that, or wait 1 week and then get it when the reviews come out. So, I mean, if you're already set on waiting like 8 months to get it, then don't pre-order it, but...
Yeah, well,
I still don't pre-order.
I don't pre-order anything. The only reason I'd pre-order The Witcher...
You'll pre-order the hell out of Fallout 4.
Me?
No, James.
Oh,
if there are bonuses, but if there's not, I'll just go buy it.
No, you're gonna get the lunchbox with the bobblehead.
If there are bonuses, are you kidding? Of course, there's gonna be bonuses. There's gonna be Nuka-Cola, and there's gonna be like little bottle caps.
What did you call it?
Wait, what?
Wait, I'm thinking of a different.
No, that's
No,
the right
say it,
letter.
say it.
Say it.
Nuka-Cola?
Nuka.
Nuka.
Have you been
come
calling
on.
it Nuka-Cola?
I haven't played through the game.
That's
so
it.
that's my.
Nuka-Cola.
Sorry.
Dave, don't grab your gun behind you. Don't do it.
It won't travel through the internet. You can't get me. I'm
I know what you're
immortal. All right. Anyway. Yeah, like what Singularity said, that's kind of how James feels. This pre-order people are crazy. Looks over at Fallout Lunchbox. And every time I visit Dave's house, there's a lot of things on the bookshelf in his office where I'm like, that doesn't look like that was bought at a retail establishment. That awfully looks like that came in a box with a game.
Yep.
A lot of posters, that's all I'm saying. But
I will pre-order GTA just so we can get the extra
yeah,
money.
yeah, okay.
I
Interesting
was
rumor.
telling James earlier, I was like, they have like a huge. Okay, it's 300,000 plus a million, and then I think there might be another 300,000 somewhere else for an extra pre-order. And then, did you hear the rumor about it being?
Yes, that's yeah. Tell us the
possibly
rumor.
2
Tell us
weeks
the rumor.
early. So
Yeah.
what is it? November? What is it coming out? November or December? What I forget what date it is.
November.
Okay, November. But it says
18th.
it might come out on like the 8th.
Well, is that for digital or is that for physical?
That I don't know. I'd probably say digital, maybe.
Where are you
Yeah.
getting your sources?
I saw it on IGN.
Yeah, it is making the rounds today that it's a rumor at this point, but
Yeah, I
it
didn't say it
does
was
look like,
finalized,
and
it was a rumor.
and they did say that they were doing something special for Sony, to celebrate the fact that Grand Theft Auto has been a staple of Sony consoles for many years. Actually, up until GTA 4, right? It was all
Yeah.
PlayStation. So that's what's going on. It is now time for a new section in the podcast named after Singularity, and this is called the Singularity of Shame. This part of the podcast
No, Jeremiah, you got it wrong. It's the Singularity Shame segment.
the Singularity Shame segment. Okay.
Yeah.
Where we take somebody who needs a little bit of shaming and we explain why they are being douche nozzles this week. So, or douche canoes, whichever you prefer. I kind of like douche canoes. It doesn't make sense, but it sounds good. Dave, who was being a douche canoe this week?
Today we're gonna call out Plaid Social, which is the PR.
Caramel! Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude, I am so lost. What the crap's going on right now?
All right,
So-
Dave, press the share button on the story and share it with the rest of us.
Press the share button. You mean speak with
Like
my
on
mouth?
like on the PlayStation to make it easy for Joel. I'm trying to
Oh,
speak his
okay,
language.
yeah.
Press the share
Well, it's
button.
not in the show notes. I'm looking.
Yeah, I don't see it anywhere in the show notes. So.
It's at number 4, guys.
It's about Shadow of
No.
Mordor.
Oh, okay. That's
We were
I'm
we were
on-
trying to warm it up. We're doing a thing here, okay?
Okay, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Here.
not
I
feeling
felt
that
like you
warmed
guys.
up.
I felt cold. I was getting cold.
Let me just finish my first sentence and we'll get somewhere. How about that? So, Plaid Social is the game handling, or the company handling the PR for Shadows of Mordor. And it came out from a couple of larger YouTubers that they contacted a bunch of YouTubers a week before the game was due to come out, roughly, and offered early access codes to write reviews and do videos. That's not super unusual. I mean, there's a lot of companies that do that, and send out codes early to get hype building, basically, for
We've
their
received
game.
codes before. Full disclosure. Yeah. Not for
And-
huge games, but for games.
Yeah. And the hope is obviously that the YouTuber will like it, and then their followers will get excited about the game and, of course, buy it. That's the whole idea. But in most cases, it's best to let the content creators be themselves and, digest the content and then make their video as they usually do and just it fit their style. But in the case of Plaid Social, there was a very strict contract you had to sign to get the code to have your review ready to go on launch day. This included not mentioning the movies, movie characters, the books. You couldn't mention any lore stuff like that. You had to talk about the the rank up system of the enemies. That had to be the main focal point of the video. Would be the rank up system of the enemies. You had to have these 3 talking points. You had to have a strong call to action, and they had a paragraph that described the call to action you had to have. If you did a live stream, you had to have 3 calls to action with certain specifications. And this is where it gets even crazier. For YouTube videos, they required a 48-hour preview of your entire video, and they had to sign off on it before you were allowed to put it live. it had to talk positive about the game. You could not talk about bugs, glitches, or anything negative about the game. Basically, they wanted YouTubers to create commercials for them and nothing else. And here's where it gets even better. If you, like a lot of YouTubers did, turned down the contract and said, no way, I'll just wait till it comes out, when other people who hadn't signed the contract started posting videos once the game launched, Warner Brothers started issuing copyright claim IDs and taking down other people's videos that hadn't signed the contract to create like a vacuum of positive talk about the game.
Which sucks because the game is actually good from all the reviews.
The game is really good. Everybody loves it. This is like the most...
I think they were... I mean, I think they were really nervous. I mean, at E3, it didn't look cool at all. I mean, I didn't care. I could care less.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's understandable. But
what a horrible... What a horrible scenario for them, where the game is really good, and all they had to do was toss those codes out into the wild and just sit back and wait for the hype to just roll.
Forget my channel. If they offer me a game code, if I just wrote up all that nice stuff and just sent it to them, like it's never sees the light of day for the public, but I just had to send it to them, that's just too much work. I'm not going to do that for a game code. Like, yeah, that's like hours and hours and hours of work to give them a commercial. Like, that's so...
Exactly.
Why do they think a big-name YouTuber is going to want to do that? Although I guess some of them must have done it. If there are Shadow of Mordor videos up, so...
If you guys want to hear more about this, Skinner Barkley talks about it on a video he posted today, and he actually said, I hadn't heard this part, apparently a bunch of these really, really positive views that went up first, like days before the game launched, as this controversy has started coming out with this contract, it turns out that as part of the contract, according to FCC federal rules, if you are being sponsored by a company to promote a product, which is what they're doing, they're getting a free code with all these contracts they had to sign, you have to have it clearly labeled as promotion.
Yeah.
And Skinner was saying that a bunch of these videos that were up first, once this controversy started spreading, a bunch of those FCC like identifiers started popping up in the description, like this video is sponsored by Warner Brothers, just like started appearing all of a sudden on all these original videos. Like everyone's backpedaling, like, oh crap, cover it. Yeah, really messed up.
It's just crazy how things are,
sure.
Work nowadays. Like, I can understand going. Like, I mean, James and I, we talked about this even when we were, when it gets closer to like start promoting Norman, like officially when it's out or trying to sell it, if there's stuff we know that are maybe not the greatest in the movie, where it's not our highest points, there's no need to just go, hey, everyone look at this is where we didn't do good.
Hey, you guys don't talk about this particular part, okay? Can everyone just be cool? Let's just not... Like, everyone's on our side, right? No one...
You have to talk about how excellent the direction was. You have to talk about how beautiful the lighting is, and you have to talk about Norman's strong chin.
The Bandit King. Maybe he's misunderstood. Maybe you can mention that.
Yeah. That's the focus.
No, like, I can understand going, what should we talk about a strong point? I can understand saying, okay, if I was the company, I was like, Dave, the evil Viking, you're the YouTuber. We got this game. We'd love to be able to get you code. This is what we really think is doing really well for our game. This is what we're doing really different. We'd love to be able to highlight this. Would you be interested in doing a review for it? And if so, could you try to highlight these parts? These are the parts we really think do really well for the game. I think you're going to like it. And do just kind of like a, hey, we'd love for you to be able to, review this. And I read another article about why they didn't want people talking about the Lord of the Rings. And I think that's a great point. I think there's one thing saying, we're really trying not to get the Lord of the Rings name in there because we don't want people saying this is a movie video game, because movie video games are terrible. All right. Mm-hmm. They just are. That's why they're going away from Lord of the Rings, getting away from Hobbit, everything else. So people don't go, oh, it's one of those little cash grab like Hobbit games, They wanted to stand alone on their stuff. So anyone who doesn't know Lord of the Rings lore, Dave knows Lord of the Rings lore. Oh, I don't. I mean, I know a good amount of it, but I'm saying for people that'll go, oh, do I need to watch all the movies?
Next on my list
just play the game. It could be a cool elf kind of orc battle game. Like you don't have to really care.
Gross.
I'm just saying you don't have to really care about it for people to buy it. All right, like they don't have to know everything about Lord of the Rings. So I can understand persuading someone to say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying not to mention that because it's not really a Lord of the Rings type of game.
Well, that's what PR people do all the time is they say, hey, here's our new game. Here's what we like about it. Here's what's cool. Look at the cool thing. Look at the cool thing. And trying to make journalists talk about the cool thing. Yeah, like you said, there's nothing wrong with that.
Here's a contract.
Exactly. The difference is when like, hey, isn't this stuff cool? How would you like a free code? All you gotta do is sign here. I mean, we've told people when we've gotten the few free codes we've gotten, and it's not a bunch, like, don't worry. How many videos are sponsored on their channels? None are sponsored. But people have offered us a couple free codes before. And what we've told them is, hey, we will play it, and if it's good, we will put it up on our channels if we like it and stuff. But that's totally up to us, and you giving us the code is no guarantee that we will do anything with it. And there's some stuff you haven't seen on our channels. And there's some stuff you have.
I have a great example right here. The week before vacation, I got an email from a PR company representing the developers behind Stronghold Crusader 2. And the email just said, literally, hey, this new game just came out. We have codes available for review, let's play streaming. Would you like one? There's literally no obligation on my part. They didn't say, can you do a video about it? Can you do a live stream or whatever? It's just, hey,
maybe when you said, yeah, I'd like to do it, then they send the contract.
And so I emailed back. I'm like, yeah, I like RTS games. I like strategy games. I've heard of the first game. I didn't actually play it, but this second one does look good. I'd love to try it. And he sent me a code and then a PR package, like wallpapers, like cinematic stuff, a whole bunch of information about the game. There's like a whole page for content curators about the game to like get you started. No obligation, no contract, just like kind of a creative trust there. And of course, I do have to be honest about where that code came from, but beyond that, it's totally up to me if I even do a video about the game. And that's how it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah. So that's been the Singularity Shame segment this week. I'm sure we'll have one of these almost every week. It's it's easy. But next news
Joel,
item.
You were talking about Lord of the Rings lore.
Yes.
Now that I finished all the series, you know what's next on my list, Joel?
What?
It's on my Amazon wish list. I have a boxed collection of the Lord of the Rings histories, including the Silmarillion, which contains like the creation story of Middle Earth. Apparently,
you're gonna loot that lore so hard.
One of our coworkers, Mark, has actually read all the histories, and he said that they are actually very difficult reads because they're like textbooks basically, but that it is really good and really interesting. And
so it should be pretty easy for you.
Really interesting. Oh, I'm sure.
Did you get Battlestar from Jeremiah? I hope that's
it's on the table in
a
the
little
living
higher
room,
on the queue for you.
Have you?
Yeah, the Silmarillion's not anytime soon, but I'm excited
Is
about it.
Battlestar Galactica anytime soon?
Probably gonna finish Mad Men first. So we only have 5 seasons to go.
Who would like to see Dave without his phone, without any internet, and Battlestar Galactica for a week?
Dave, if you're not gonna watch it, then give it to Debbie so Debbie and John can watch it.
If they're ready to start now, yeah, they can.
Debbie watched, quote, a few episodes.
Oh, well, she's not much of a TV.
You can't just watch a few episodes.
That's what I thought too. But no, my sister watched. My sister watched like 3 episodes and was like, "Does it ever? It's like really sad. Is it gonna get better?" And I was like, I can't tell a lie. No, it's not going to get better, but it's really good and you should watch it. And then it disappeared from Netflix. Like she went back and forth for a couple weeks and now it's gone. But all right. So
you guys
anyway,
go ahead without me. I got to restart TeamSpeak real quick. You guys are like 2 decibels.
Okay. Oculus Rift.
User disconnected from your channel.
Oculus Rift's consumer release is supposedly coming, quote, soon. The Oculus VR co-founder and CEO Brendan Erebe said that we want to make sure when you do buy an Oculus in the future, it's a comfortable
User
experience.
entered your channel.
And that's one of the main things they're working on now is making the Oculus Rift comfortable to wear on your head for a couple hours at a time, which understandably could be a pretty big issue. If headphones are sold on the basis of their comfort, adding something else heavy to the front of your face besides headphones can be a pretty big deal. So they said, don't hold your breath waiting for one to appear under your tree over the holidays. They said it'll be more than a few months, but less than a few years. Quote, pretty soon.
I guess it's probably fall next year.
Yeah, that would
something
seem
I do
reasonable.
hope they do with it, which I don't think they're going to be smart enough to do it, is I wish they would sell it. Like, you know, you have the Oculus Rift, but it also comes with a really good game that comes with it. Like, they sell it with a game or a scenario or a system or something that's just like just a cool demo environment.
I'm sure they're going to have people chomping at the bit to release demos at least.
Oh, I know, I'm sure they will. It'd be cool if, like, you know, like just having the App Store. It'd be awesome if there was an Oculus Rift App Store. That would actually be really cool. Like games that are developed specifically for the Oculus Rift. So you plug it in, it loads up kind of its own software. So you can use it with Steam and everything else, but it has its own software because people are going to plug it in and like, you know, it'd be cool to have something to like boxed with it. That's a really good, you know, experience.
All right. And then PT. PT was a demo that was released on the PlayStation Store. Was it right after Gamescom? When was it right after?
Yeah. Right after Gamescom.
And no one really knew what it was, but quickly within a couple hours or a day or so, people figured out that it was a kind of teaser for the next Silent Hill game. And it's just kind of this scary hallway you walk down a bunch of times and a bunch of stuff happens, which is a really lame way of describing it. I played it at Joel's house and it's kind of creepy. Like I didn't finish it.
And let me just say that Jeremiah is the worst at playing scary games
because I'm not
he's
scared.
Like, no, it's not, you would be scared, but you're the kind of person that laughs through and talks loud through a game that's scary. I don't think you just sit and try to like get yourself.
I don't try to scare myself. No,
but you talk through it. Like if you, it's like if you talk through a movie, you'll be like, "Hey, what that guy just say?" Well, if you listened, you might have heard.
I hate talking in movies. I don't normally talk in games. Yeah, you queued it up. What am I going to do? Sit in absolute stony silence next to everybody?
That's what I asked. It's how you're supposed to experience a scary game.
You wanted us all to sit perfectly quiet on the couch.
I'm
going to
have Dave come over again and try it again.
Okay, so I'll play PT. It's on my Potato Station 4.
You have a PS4. Play it by yourself.
I will play it by myself.
And finish
you can play it on the projector. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
At night with headphones in the dark.
Try to beat it. Even if you have to look it up, try to beat it.
Okay. Anyway, someone has recreated PT in Minecraft because pretty much everything gets recreated in Minecraft. I guess that's the reason. But for all of you on the PC who are like, oh man, I really wanted to play it. Well, now you can.
I keep waiting for like Autodesk to buy Minecraft as like a 3D platform. Like you have 3ds Max, Maya, Lightbox, and then Lightwave, and then Minecraft.
I don't think they're gonna outpay Microsoft.
It's they've gotten rid of most of the scary stuff and they've replaced it with like sheep noises, and they've gotten rid of all the blood and everything. So I don't know. It's a kind of a joke probably more than anything else, but yeah.
I'll have to download it and try it sometime.
There it is. Okay, it is now time for a new segment of the podcast we like to call the Potato Patch.
Let's actually add a segment on here just called the Potato Patch so we can actually make things clear.
Okay, so it's now time for the Potato Patch, where we talk about what's going on in the master race of vegetable farmers and their consoles. That'll get better. Just give me some time, guys. Our first Potato Patch item is Assassin's Creed Unity. Is running at a unified 900p on both consoles. Apparently, wanting to skip the debacle that happens when one game comes out at 900p on one console and it comes out at 1080p on the other, they've decided to make it 900p on both consoles, effectively admitting to downgrading the experience on one of them just so they're both the same.
Exactly what it is, yeah.
Now, most people won't notice the difference between 900p and 1080p because they're upscaling the 900p to display it. So, unless you've got a huge screen, you'll probably never notice the difference.
If you have functional eyes.
900p to 1080p is not a massive difference. 720p upscale to 1080p is pretty noticeable, but 900p is not bad. But yeah, so now people are fussing at Ubisoft for dropping it down for the PS4. It's the PS4 would be able to run it at 1080p. When Assassin's Creed 4 came out, it also ran at 900p on both consoles, but then the PS4 got patched so it could play at 1080p. And people are upset by that. Now on the PC, of course, you will be able to play at 1080p. Who knows how well, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting that like that's a thing, like that's a news item now, is what resolution it's going to be running at, because it's back to the whole Xbox versus PlayStation thing. The peasants just beating each other over the heads about which potato has slightly more nutrients in it.
Someone pointed out on Twitter, I think it was Snoov actually, that, and I think this is very true, that a lot of times if a PC gamer or someone who plays mostly PC games complains about a ported game having downgraded functionality or resolution, or being just a bad port, and they say like, oh man, the console is like really drugged this game down. It's like, oh, you're just being an elitist. You're just a PC elitist. But now it's kind of the same thing happening just within the console realm, and now people are angry at different platforms on consoles. It's the same thing, and the reality is that a lot of times the corners do have to be cut for multi-platform games. It's not elitism; it's just reality.
But what they should do is not tell people. Like, if you would stop talking about this stuff, why would people ever know? Just run the game.
People are gonna find out. Yeah.
Well, but don't like it.
They count. They count.
But it just seems like
you guys don't have a pixel ruler next to your screen.
Well, I mean, I guess they have to go online and find. There are people who dig into the game files and figure it out. But like, still, it would be way less of a thing if there weren't news articles about it all the time. Like, don't even announce it if it's running at 1080p. Just make a pretty game and let people play it and like shut up about it. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing to fight about is if one game's 900p and another game's 1080p. Like, those are both perfectly decent resolutions, and it all depends on your screen size and your distance from it, and the quality of the screen will all make a pretty big difference. Much more than the resolution itself.
Wonder about this is like, even if the PS4 had 1080p, it's like, and even with all the whining, like, is it really like if it really does actually come down to their bottom line, if that really does make a huge difference, then maybe I could see the 900p thing. But it's like, just say like, it's not 1080p, this is 900p, done.
Except Microsoft's probably fussing them on the phone every day, saying, "Don't give them a higher quality game than us."
Yeah,
probably true.
This is the ultimate sports machine.
Honestly,
TV.
I would take a drop in resolution if I owned like a PS4 or an Xbox One. I would take a drop in resolution in exchange for like a slight amount of like just any anti-aliasing.
Yes,
please.
I was say that. Any anti-aliasing, please.
Give me something. 720p, but with 2x anti-aliasing is all I ask
Joel,
for.
I did want to give a little bit of props to Infamous Second Son. I played on your PS4 during vacation.
I played hours of that, too.
That game does actually look next gen. Like, the lighting effects are awesome. The shaders are awesome. Yeah, the particle effects are great. The models are good. The game runs at a pretty steady frame rate. It does dip from time to time, but overall it's steady enough that like it doesn't detract from the experience, and the game is not full of jaggies everywhere. They're still there a little bit, but it's not everywhere. Which I went online and looked up, and apparently a lot of people are pretty down on Infamous. Like, a lot of people consider it to be a disappointing next-gen game. But I thought this one was way more enjoyable than the first Infamous game, which is heralded as one of the best games on the PS3, so who knows? But
yeah, it's a good-looking game.
Second potato patch news item, Driveclub. So, if you guys remember, when the PS4 was announced, when there was the E3 press conference where like angels were coming out of heaven and like people were crying, and Microsoft was like loading a couple rounds in the revolver and spinning their chamber a couple, when things were getting really bad at Microsoft and Sony was like probably high on meth, everybody back in the Sony headquarters was just like running around, free love and booze for everybody. We're king of the world.
Where are you going with this one?
Anyway, so when all that was happening, one of the big things they announced was like, if you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, which you have to be if you want to play online, Driveclub is going to be our next generation racing title. Ignoring the fact that we already have Gran Turismo on our platform, which is undoubtedly the #1 racing game on consoles, we're coming out with a second one, Driveclub, free to play at launch for the PlayStation 4. Look how amazing it is. And they show like these crazy weather effects, and the cars look so good, and they're zooming along super fast, and the crowd's like, this is everything I think I've ever wanted. And then like the whole,
is everything that I've always been told I've wanted.
and you're able to create a crew and play with all your club of friends and everything. And it was supposed to be like next generation racing simulation, launch day, get it. Well, here we are now. Driveclub was delayed for almost a year, which was announced unceremoniously shortly before the PlayStation 4 launched. And then it went from being free on PlayStation Plus to costing full price on PlayStation Plus. But now when it launched, they are giving you a $10 discount. So it's $50 for PlayStation Plus members. And they came out with a free PlayStation Plus version of the game, which is really a glorified demo.
It has 11 tracks.
It's right. It's a glorified demo. It's a preview version. It's like Gran Turismo Prologue. Okay, it's like getting a free version.
Battlefield 4 came out with how many maps when it first came out?
There's only 10 maps.
Yeah, it has more maps than Battlefield.
Right.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty
I don't know.
good
That's
demo.
that's really an apples to oranges thing. Compare another racing game if you're going to compare it. There are racing games that have sucked worse. I'm not trying to say that. I'm saying like it went from what they initially promised to what they actually delivered was way lower. That's not actually the stupid part though. That's still pretty stupid. But the PlayStation Plus version was supposed to come out yesterday. It didn't, because for this multiplayer dependent, super heavy, like this whole thing is supposed to be super multiplayer. Yeah, the servers couldn't handle the load, so they launched the full price version, and they've held off on the PlayStation Plus version for an indeterminate amount of time. Like, they didn't announce this until after the PlayStation Store had already updated yesterday. I was sitting there hitting refresh, excited to download Driveclub, and then I had to go on Reddit and double check, like, hey, is this thing supposed to be coming out today? And all the comments are, it's not coming out, they're delaying it, because the server load just couldn't handle it. And then I found a release map. Some of the cool weather effects and stuff aren't in the game. They've literally released an unfinished game. They say the weather effects are going to be patched in later along with some cars as content packs. Okay, adding extra cars as a content pack is one thing. Gran Turismo does it, tons of car games do it. Adding like the visual effects for the game in is not a content pack. That's the game's not done.
Guys, in next month's patch, we're going to add, I know we have the color textures, we have the specular reflection textures.
Now we're going to add the cars in.
We're going to add bump mapping textures coming soon.
Or it's like post-release support for Grand Theft Auto 5. We're going to add the top half of the mountain is coming in several months. And also you can't drive onto the docks because they're just foggy right now. Thank you for buying our game for full price.
Q1 you get red.
This is so stupid though. This is becoming it's becoming like on the PC. On the PC, it's been bad for a little while. People releasing unfinished games and then patching them. This is worse than that. This isn't even feature complete in the releasing this. This would be almost like releasing DayZ now, like, oh, it's done, guys.
Cars are going to be patched in later.
You know what's funny? I'm thinking about like, okay, even like Fallout New Vegas or games like that, right? Back when I got those games, I'm like, I didn't have really good internet access, so like, I wasn't always connected, right? So like, I could, like, you know, it would come out and they'd be like, oh man, Fallout has a day one patch, right? Well, I couldn't even download the day one patch because of my internet, so I just played it as is. But it's like how I played, like, I would never find these random glitches, you know, like these game breaking ones where people like get into some crazy scenario and the whole game's crashing. But I'm like, nowadays you can't even freaking get into a game without patches.
Yeah, it's
funny, like.
Like, delay stuff. I don't care. Just don't tell us it's coming out yet. Just delay it. Fix it. I'd like to play it when it's out. Like, there are so many games that come out. They're so good. I don't even get to them for like a year and a half just because you wait for a good Steam sale. It's sitting somewhere in your queue. I just started playing Hitman Absolution, which I got for free with a graphics card like a year and a half ago. And it's a great game and I'm loving it. But like, it was pretty far down my list. But if it had come out and it sucked when it came out because it wasn't finished, I probably never would have played it because that's all I remember. Like, you know, all I remember about it is how terrible people said it was when it launched, and I have no reason to go back and want to play it again. Like, I just don't understand. I know you have deadlines to meet and stuff, but everyone's pushing their games back now. Just push them back farther. Who cares? Anyway, that's my rant.
Now that the potato patch is done, can I toss in a little bit of Master Race news that just popped up on my screen?
Let me say something really fast.
Yes,
go
James,
for it,
go ahead.
James.
I remember just weeks ago, Joel wanting to say something about console up front, and Jeremiah making such a big deal about how this is casual shenanigans about PC gaming. And now that he has a PS4, we have a new section.
Yeah, but the new section, the new section, if you notice, both news articles are demeaning the consoles.
I don't care.
The news was sneaking in before. I wouldn't let Joel do it, and then like every chance he got, he'd be like, "Hey guys, let's talk about consoles." Now we're just giving him. Wow, I was about to make a Holocaust joke. Oh my! I was gonna say it's like its own quarantine section where Joel can stay in with this console news. Oh man, I was about. Oh man.
Our podcast name is called
except you brought
Casual Shenanigans, not PC
I know,
gaming.
but it's all about controlling. It's about controlling the bad thing that's going to happen.
Console ghetto, Jeremiah.
I did. I really did, and I'm so hard. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You about to say I'm so hard?
No. I wasn't going to say that. I was not about to say that. I was never about to say that.
Sure. Okay, we'll go with that.
Look, I can't help that it popped into my head. Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Observation end.
But no, James, that is a very good observation. I wondered if anyone was going to bring that up. I do think it's a little frustrating. Like most of the big releases that have been talked about for the PlayStation 4, like so far have been kind of disappointments. Like Destiny, definitely not living up to the several years of hype we've been hearing about it. It's a fun game, but like it's definitely not as good as it was sold to us as of right now. But they're like, but we're going to add more content later, which takes me back to why not just add it before you release the game? Because now a lot of people don't like it. And then Driveclub, what else? Watch Dogs getting delayed. Like the PS4, a lot of its launch titles got cut. It launched with like not a whole lot. I'm sure it's going to be great in a couple
we could
years.
be playing Division right now. It was supposed to come out, I think, last week.
I don't think we'd want to be playing the Division right now.
Yeah, no, I'm glad it's pushed back.
Yeah, just delay it. Delay it as long. If the Division came out next fall, I have plenty to play between now and then. I want the Division to be as good as they keep telling me it's going to be. Wait as long as it takes. But Half-Life 3 could come out any time now, and that'd be great.
They've had 9 years.
The username Grabno, he calls me a console peasant. I have a console, all the consoles, and all the PCs.
Well,
and
Joel,
I'll have Oculus
make
Rift
fun of
soon.
Yeah.
The trifecta.
You make fun of me for being like a PC snob, and I've owned all the consoles too. It's just how we like to refer to each other. You know, it's I don't know. It's just
as long as you guys feel better about yourself, thinking you're some PC master race.
I don't feel any better. I just want people to play games and enjoy them.
At least I can go outside and people
What pisses me off about this is not. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's on a console. It pisses me off that these games are being released unfinished.
No, I totally agree. No, I think it's frustrating that games are talked about so much. Like, just disappear for a while, man. Stop talking about it. Just disappear.
Yeah.
Finish it when it finishes, and it's gonna be good. Like, people see that. People recognize that. Like the Lord of the Rings game, or better not say that. Gonna get my video cut. No, but like, Shadow of Mordor. Like, the game came out, it was good. It's like so much of it speaks on its own. I just read like one article and it was like, this is really fantastic. This sounds awesome. And I watched 2 videos just because I wanted to see some of the gameplay outside of the start. And yeah, I was like, man, this is awesome. This looks really good. Game is damn good.
Yeah, and the key thing you just said there was it stands on its own. If it's good, you don't need to hype the game that bad. Like, take your time, finish it.
The hype builds itself.
Oh, no, I do understand though. People they have to put the game out eventually, or they don't make any money. But a lot of these companies are big enough that they could wait a little bit longer and it wouldn't kill them. I think people who own a PlayStation should be more upset because so many of the things that were promised to them when like they pre-ordered haven't come through yet. Like a lot of the stuff that was supposed to happen right out of the gate, there's not a whole lot of AAA stuff to play on a PlayStation right now. There's a lot of great indie games, but unless you like sports, and a handful of AAA titles, the best one of which was released on the PS3, there's not a ton to play right now. So I think those people should be a little more irritated, but what are you gonna do?
It's like that at every console launch, though.
Yeah, but this isn't launch now. This is a year out.
This is still considered launch window.
Yeah, there's still more games on the PS4 now within launch year than it was on the PS3. There's a lot more games.
Yeah, but the PS3
we have
was
had a lot
considered
more
a
games that have
failure
launched
for the
on the-
first year.
I wouldn't say it's a failure. No,
It was
Wait,
considered. It was considered like people talked
PS3,
about it.
You said?
Yeah,
Or
like
PS4?
people talked about the Xbox One when it first came out. Like, it's not that they weren't selling them, but people talked about it in generally not great terms. I mean, I bought one. Like, I bought one just a month or two after launch, and I liked it, but there wasn't a ton to do with it. And it was the problem that it was like $600, and I mean, it was a lot of money, and they were a little cocky coming out of the gate with it, similar to the Xbox One. It was the same exact problems. So, now
So back
things
to
are
the
better.
Master Race news.
Yes.
Shadowplay just updated with new drivers and support for 4K recording with Shadowplay.
Can you do multiple audio streams?
You can do your mic feed, but it still have to use like push to talk. It's still combined in the codec in one stream. But yeah, 4K support on the graphics card, that's a pretty big deal. Because I don't think DX Story, even with VFW or Cineform, would do well with 4K. I'd imagine there'd be a lot of dropped frames.
All right. We are now moving on to mail time. Joel?
Yep.
You gonna sing for us?
Thing. Oh, I thought I'd do it for news time. Yeah, you're right. It is mail time. Wait.
It felt a little awkward.
Mail time!
Not bad.
All right, Dave, do you want to read this mail? It was addressed to you.
Yes, this did come to me. I hadn't had a chance to reply to it yet, so I was like, I'll pawn it off on you guys. David emails in.
He wrote into casualshenanigans@gmail.com, except he wrote into you. But let's pretend he wrote into casualshenanigans@gmail.com just like you can to be a part of the show. Go, Dave.
Or you can send free game codes to evilviking@gmail.com. At any time. Any code. I'll take it. All right, on to the question. David asks, he's asking about ARMA 3. His FPS is kind of low. He says he gets 35 to 38 FPS on high settings, 30-ish on very high, and only about 25 to 27 on ultra. Even on standard settings, the most he'll get is 43. His hardware, he has an AMD FX 8350 at 4 gigahertz. He has a Radeon R9 280 3 gig edition, 8 gigs of RAM, and a BioStar motherboard?
Yeah, they're a thing.
That sounds really off-brand. Is that off-brand?
No, they're a brand. They're not massive, but they've been around for years.
BioStar sounds like a Chinese import for some reason. I'm not. Yeah, so he's basically just asking, are those frame rates normal? And I'm going to look at your CPU here, David, and I'm going to actually say that, yeah, that is unfortunately a very normal frame rate for ARMA 3. ARMA 3...
No, go ahead. I'll have a follow-up.
Yeah, I'll just lay out the base issue. The base issue with ARMA 3 is it has terrible multi-threaded support on the client. I made a mission with a lot of waypoints and AI triggers where on my very nice computer that I built this year, I was averaging like...
Which you just released a video on, if anybody's interested.
Yes, it's a really long video, and it goes into way too much detail about my computer. I get like 17 FPS on that mission, and it's very easy to figure out why. I bring up Task Manager, I tabbed out, and I looked at it. I have, of my 12 threads, like 10 of them are almost idling. They're like at 10%. And there's one thread at like 30%, and then one thread at 99%. ARMA 3 is not well optimized on the CPU. And a big part about ARMA isn't necessarily the graphics, which do look good. With a good graphics card, you have good draw distance, you have higher res textures, you have better lighting and shaders and all that stuff, and your shadows render further. But a lot of the bottleneck in ARMA is on the CPU side, because when you play a mission or play online, all those AI characters have a full AI suite, and it's all done on the CPU. I was telling Joel, like, I had so many AI characters in my mission, the lag is frustrating when you're trying to create a mission, but if you think about it, I can take any of these AI characters, I drop one in the editor onto the map, I can tell him to get into an F-18, and his AI will know how to take off in that jet, like, without crashing most of the time, and, like, do missions, and, like, return to base, and I can tell a bunch of AI guys to get into a helicopter, fly across the map, and they'll, like, land it on the landing spot. And if they, like, overshoot it, they'll, like, come back around, and, like, if the wind changes or whatnot. I've seen the AI pull off some dumb stuff, but also some pretty impressive stuff. But the problem is, it's just all on the CPU.
But even still, are they gonna fix?
Supposedly they're moving towards a 64-bit architecture, which will allow them to do this, right, Dave?
DayZ is ahead on that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. The ARMA team, they're aware of this. They're working on it. ARMA is one of those games where it is buying a platform, and they do release major updates like years down the road, which has always been their business model.
Which is okay for ARMA, but not for console games.
Because they tell you that ahead of time, and that's their established standard.
I didn't see that in Steam when I was buying ARMA 2. I didn't see, oh, by the way, it's going to suck for a little while. But
did you buy ARMA 2?
I did.
Oh, you bought ARMA 2, okay.
Okay. When ARMA 2, like when you bought it, it was already been out for years. No, well, that's one of the things, like, you do have to know with the ARMA series, they don't have great PR, as you've seen with most things from Bohemia. You do have to kind of know that about the series. Fortunately for them, most people don't just like stumble into ARMA like, hey, what this looks like, Call of Duty, let's play it. Like their barrier to entry is a little bit higher than most people's, for the reason that it's a platform. It's not just a hop in, point and click shooter game. But okay, so on the frame rates thing, Dave, who is also Ripper and Norton in chat, he says he's put in some launch settings, actually getting better frame rates than when I emailed you. I had your exact same processor, and if I remember correctly, you asked us about your parts list before, and you asked if you would be able to play ARMA. And I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, if I was remembering you, that I said, yes, you'll be able to. It will be better with Intel, but you do save a lot of money with AMD. So it's kind of like you choose which way you want to go. He says now he's getting Ultra on 30 to 34 FPS and high at 65 to 70, which sounds pretty good. I had an 8350. Unfortunately, you're not really going to be able to overclock it on that motherboard. That motherboard's a little too cheap to overclock. The problem with cheap motherboards is not necessarily their general stability, it's that they don't overclock that well. But with ARMA, your FPS can vary a lot depending on what you're doing. Like if you're playing mostly multiplayer servers hosted by other people, your FPS can be all over the place. It totally depends on what that server's doing and what they're running. If they have like 80 people running around on a map or something in close space to each other, all shooting at each other, no one's going to get good frame rates. That's just, it's a 32-bit server. It does not matter how good your gear is. Like Dave and I, with our rigs, get like 20 FPS in some custom missions just because so much stuff's going on. It's more stuff than you'd be able to do in any other game, but it still drags the game down to a crawl. But if you're playing just single player on your own, then it should be reasonable that you're getting the FPS now that you're talking about, 30 to 34 or 65 to 70 on high. That sounds more right. Now, here's what your options should be. ARMA, fortunately, is a game that lets you adjust pretty much everything. And you can adjust some things that will improve the load placed on the CPU. For instance, just lowering your object render distance can make a huge difference. ARMA 3 has
for the CPU. Actually.
Yes, it has a massive render distance, but you can actually lower it by a lot, and the game doesn't really look significantly worse. It's one of those things that sounds like you want to have it all the way up, but really, for playing the game, you don't really need to. I've turned it all the way up before. I never noticed an appreciable difference, and I turned it back down just for the extra performance. Same thing with draw distance. Unless you're like flying a jet, you probably don't need like a 6,000 meter draw distance in the game. Like that's just kind of excessive. You could drop it down to 1,500, and again, in most missions, you will never see a difference. Same thing with the anti-aliasing. Like that's more on the GPU side, but anything you can do will kind of like it'll improve things. You just have to understand that you do have an AMD CPU. Supposedly they're making it better for multi-threaded, but your best options are just to tweak some of the settings, and we can help you with that if you need help. You can still keep an amazing looking game that honestly looks pretty much the same as it does now, but performs quite a bit better if you know what to do. And your other option is to get a motherboard that will let you overclock your CPU, because those CPUs can easily hit 4.5 to 5 gigahertz, and that will open up your top end a little bit. Yeah, your R9 280 is a great graphics card. You don't have anything to worry about with that. That can play the game fine. Everything else in your rig is totally fine. Just ARMA 3 is not a normal first-person shooter. It's a simulation military game, and that's the difference. Is
with all a lot of AI.
Yeah, all simulations run worse than arcade games because they're simulating stuff going on. I mean, flight simulators run poor. All the sim games like Agricultural Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, they all perform poorly. A lot of them because they're made by small teams, but also because it's a simulation. It's a totally different experience than an arcade game. So, but if you need help like fine tuning it a little bit, we can help you do that. But it sounds like you're on the right track now. So, best of luck to you. Hopefully, you can join one of our subscriber events.
I still just find ARMA 3's entire concept of the way that their AI characters work just to be still just amazing.
Well, like amazing, but sometimes they're amazingly dumb.
Definitely. Like, and that's the problem with a sandbox game with AI like that, is they're going to have low spots. But at the same time, you look at like a flyover, like a jet pass in Call of Duty. It's a totally just a scripted model that flies over and then is deleted from the map. That's that. I have a flyover of an F-18 in one of my missions where it's actually like there's a real pilot inside, and I have the jet fly over. I am putting James to sleep right now.
But didn't you're telling the person to fly the jet over in that area, though, right?
Exactly.
Like I tell him own, though.
Yeah, well, I tell him to fly over the area. But what I can do, Joel, is after he flies over the area, if I tell him to do nothing else, he has a whole suite of instructions where he will then look to support ground troops, hunt for enemies, guard. Like, if
the game will never be optimized just because. Like,
and that's not done on the server end?
No, that's on the client side.
Why can't they push some of that load on the server?
There would be a lot of desync with that. Yeah,
James, see what happens in DayZ. Like in ARMA, you really don't want to have desync, and they've done a great job of getting rid of it most of the time. But that's one of those things, like it's bad in DayZ. It would ruin the game in ARMA to have that level of desync.
They don't add like a limit to how much you can add in the game, is there?
No, and that's why my mission got out of control. I had to cut it back by about 20% because I had just added too much, and the cores were just maxed out. It was
like even like I don't know if you ever played like a game like not Left 4 Dead, sorry, Little Big Planet or something like that. Like you can create worlds, but there'll actually be like a fill amount. Like you know, if you put too many elements, you know, it's gonna crash or be way too big. You know, obviously, in like different PC, your PC might have more RAM and can handle it more, so I can understand that, but. A game like ARMA 3 is never going to be optimized to run. Well,
that's the problem with like any. What you get with the PC is you get unparalleled freedom, but it also comes with the risk that you are going to be like you're
getting unparalleled glitches and
exactly like they open up a top level of freedom and there's a bottom, like the bottom drops out on the problems you can run into. It's like buying a super fast vintage sports car. Yeah, you can go way faster than your normal commuter car, but you're also opening yourself up to a lot of pain if you do something stupid.
I was going to point out too, if ARMA 2 is any indication, because there is no limits in the game for what you can do, as hardware improves and as they keep patching the game, a combination of the patches and then just brute forcing it with new hardware, by the time that ARMA 4 is on the horizon and ARMA 3 is reaching the end of its life cycle, the stuff that people will be able to create with modern CPUs, 4 years from now is going to be nuts. And it's cool that right now, like, we have the ability to go ahead and start pushing those limits as the hardware increases. Like, there's no limit to what you can try.
Yeah, just like that 4 years from now, playing the game really well, the graphics are going to be poop compared to what they have 4 years from now.
I mean, ARMA 3 looks awesome. Like it's
ARMA 3 looks decent right now. ARMA 2 doesn't.
Doesn't look awful.
It does. Yeah, on max settings.
It looks like a 2006 game.
2009.
Its render distance and stuff, like the forest at distance and stuff, still look way better than games from just a couple years ago.
Because it's rendering a ton of trees doesn't mean all the trees look good, though. I mean, it's impressive.
But at distance, it still looks really impressive, though. Like it's not. Yeah, up close, some of the models start looking old, but they're not terrible. But
it's still pretty convincing. Overall.
Maybe so. It's pretty funny. I think you guys should get some outside opinions though on ARMA 2, because people I've talked with, they say it looks like a 2004 game. They're like,
aspects of it do. Aspects of it certainly do.
That's inconsistent.
The same thing with DayZ, because DayZ uses a lot of old assets.
That's what it looks like. It looks like
yeah,
MMO
I would agree with that.
With tons, like MMOs are big, but they can render a ton amount of stuff. So.
That's why most MMOs look really crappy, is because they have to have it run smoothly on even crappy low-end systems, which is why World of Warcraft is a cartoon. So, it is now time for 90 Seconds with Joel, a part of the podcast where Joel talks about whatever he wants for 90 seconds, except this week when we actually had something submitted by Singularity again, who's just outdoing himself on contributions to the podcast for this week. But yeah, so Joel, what are we going to do this week?
Well, apparently someone wrote up some would you rather questions. I didn't read them beforehand because I just kind of wanted to be surprised myself. But so I'll read some of these out. And I'm going to give a rating for what I think, if these are any good. So let's go with the first one. So I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but kind of also trying to hurt people's feelings if they're really bad.
Okay.
Would you rather, guys, completely revamp Homefront into an enjoyable game, or prevent Aliens Colonial Marines from ever being made?
I'll go. I actually liked Homefront, so if we could polish it out and make it all it could have been, I would definitely take that. I don't really care about the Aliens franchise, so personally it doesn't bother me that Colonial Marines was made.
I was going to say the same thing. I never played Homefront, but it looked really interesting.
I'm going to say that the pit of awfulness that was Colonial Marines was necessary.
I knew Dave was going to do this. He's the social justice warrior when it comes to PC development.
That crime against humanity was necessary for Creative Assembly to, in terror, create a pretty good game in Alien Isolation. Like just the dark shadow looming of the lawsuits involved over that game. Let's not forget that Colonial Marines involved lawsuits firing back and forth from the publisher and developer. So, like, that was a mess.
Well, actually, a lot of the reviews of Isolation aren't that positive.
I was gonna say maybe next time.
One review is really bad. PC Gamer gave it a 93, and I've read both reviews, and I think PC Gamer hit a lot closer to the mark.
I don't think they were.
It's getting about an 80 between Metacritic.
Yeah,
it has an 80 average.
It's not mind blowing, but no, it definitely appears to be better than last time for sure.
It appears to be much better.
I'm with your I actually liked Homefront a little bit. I mean, it was a little too loose with the controls, but Yeah.
It was like, would you say Red Dawn a little bit, James?
Like, ooh.
Yeah, Joel, you didn't
Like
play.
controllers was like the guns were like slipping out of your hands. Oh, so loose.
Exactly.
Way too
I
much
love those
oil
kind
on
of
the
games.
guns. Yeah.
I don't know, it felt a little too arcadey to me.
Okay.
You were trying to I was gonna say bite that itch. Scratch that.
Add it to the list.
Dang it!
Joel's trying to bite that itch.
I'll add it to the list of Joelisms. I'm adding it right now.
All right, Joel.
What's
the next
that
one?
Fallout itch. Okay,
Oh,
the next
no,
one. And if
I
Debbie, if you're listening, this is also for John. Like you can tell him. Would you rather? Oh, stop putting your name up. I can't read it. Okay. Would you rather be forced to smoke only the worst cigars ever made, or have to drink only the worst whiskey ever made?
I'm gonna say worst whiskey, because you'll start forgetting how bad it is. Like a couple shots in, that cigar's just gonna be bad the whole time.
Cigars don't make you black out from the experience. You'll remember it all.
Exactly, and cancer. So
I've never tried a cigar and don't plan on it. I
That's
think the only
good.
time I want to plan on it is if like in some jungle and we just killed the enemy and we're just like
we're sweaty and shirtless under the
Yeah,
sun.
just-
I'm like, hey man, I got these cigars,
Yeah.
and you're like, hell yeah, give me one.
Maybe we could just share the same cigar.
like we just went through battle together and we're like, oh, I'll just try a cigar. That's
Here,
what I'll try a
guys, here's the
cigar.
worst cigar. Congratulations.
After that battle, though, you'd be like, I don't even care. I've tasted blood. Cigars are too weak.
John says a whiskey.
Yep, you can chug whiskey. Cigars last an hour. Also a good point. Although I don't know if you can chug whiskey. Oh, the tears.
I don't know. I wouldn't put past John. Okay. Would you rather vacation for a week in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, or vacation for a week on the beaches of the
Fukushima Prefecture.
Fukushima?
Near their
Is that
nuclear
where the,
meltdown. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I would do Chernobyl. that one's a little bit less recent.
I'm gonna grab this one because I mean for Chernobyl, all of the hot zones are mapped out now. Like there's a very safe path. You can take tours of Chernobyl, whereas in Japan that's still like an active meltdown site. They're still discovering like horrible pockets of radiation and people are still dying. That's not a tourist attraction yet.
Is it
Yet.
too much to ask for both, though?
Like
Like the way James thinks.
James like, I just want more vacation time. I don't even care. Give me a suit.
if it was absolutely safe, like absolutely safe just to wander around.
Well, then, if it was absolutely safe, this isn't a good would you rather.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, would you just go? Would you go? Would you go to?
Would I
Chernobyl?
go to
Just
Russia or would I
explore
go
out?
to Japan? Probably Japan. I don't really want to go visit Russia that bad, if I'm being honest.
Ukraine, Jeremiah, Ukraine. Although you don't want to go there either right now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, way better. Let me pack my bags and my Kalashnikov.
It's just a mild civil
Promising
war
it's
in progress.
safe.
All right, what's the last one?
Thankfully, Chernobyl is in the northwest of Ukraine, very far away from where grad rockets are being tossed back and
Good,
forth.
good.
from
I can
city
leave
to
all the
city.
fighting and go to the nuclear meltdown. That'll make it better.
You can find the big over-radiated worms that are like not normal.
Oh man, I'm gonna skew this one real quick because I got a good one for Dave. Dave, would you rather start making a video series like continually for the rest of your life of of the War Z, or never be able to make another DayZ video?
Now, Joel, when you say continuous series, do you mean continuous series like our Rome 2 continuous series, last posted in early April?
No, like every time you make a video of the War Z, you're allowed to play DayZ for 8 hours. So you have to make it like so every time.
How long is the War Z
away.
videos have to be?
It's a new
It can just be the
model
War
for
Z
gaming.
intro screen. Whoop, dun, 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 done.
I think I get some of that world's cheapest whiskey and just tear through the War Z, just not remember any of it.
Here's the mesh of both. You can only play DayZ on the War Z engine, but all your friends are playing DayZ. You're meeting up with them on that engine. They're playing a different game than you, essentially.
Now, the actual question was, would you rather have CSG start making videos of Minecraft or have CSG never make another DayZ video? Which is funny because Debbie and John are in the middle of getting a Minecraft server set up right now, and we're actually thinking about playing some Minecraft. That doesn't mean there's going to be videos of it necessarily. But
if we play it, that means there'll be a video of it. Because
no,
I don't
not
think
necessarily.
there's ever a video game we play where you guys are not recording.
I haven't posted any.
You wouldn't know,
prop
Joel,
hunt.
because no videos go up. I play tons of games.
Well, not with us, generally.
Oh,
I played with Ethan Carter. I played a lot of prop hunt with you guys. I played Minecraft DayZ with you guys. Didn't post
I was
anything.
going to say that the server they're putting up hopefully is going to be the Minecraft version of DayZ with all the mining stuff still added in it, which could be a lot of fun. But that doesn't mean there'll be videos of it. Now, what I think it should be to make this a good would you rather is, should CSG every member have to do a let's play of Minecraft? Or never make another DayZ video. So it starts out with, hey guys, this is JERMgaming. This is going to be my Let's Play Minecraft. I think I'm going to put a house here. I'm going to dig a giant pit and jump into the lava because I can't stand being around myself. Hammer that like, subscribe button. Why do only one person watch these videos? And why is only my mom subscribed? I hate all of you. Now imagine that in a 14-year-old's voice and you have a rough approximation of what I would do if I was making a Minecraft Let's Play.
10 out of 10. Speaking of Minecraft, Joel, next time you get some spare time on your console, load up Minecraft and look what I did on vacation. I built so much.
Oh my God. James, we were playing. I got to experience, like, honestly, I think Dave and I should make a Minecraft series because it will be me.
You'd kill me.
It will be me bitching at Dave like constantly.
You already were.
Oh my gosh! Like I literally couldn't handle it. I was
Joel, Dave was pissing me off so bad the other night.
Was he playing Minecraft with you?
Yes, he was playing Minecraft and he was exploring this giant cavern and he's just mining something over here, mining something over here. It's just random rooms scattered everywhere. And Dave's like, you don't understand. When I'm done, this will be my masterpiece. And I'm like, well, I'm watching it now and it's terrible. And like, he's just like, he was walking along to go look at the starting area, maybe traveling, maybe for 30 seconds. 15 seconds into the 30-second journey, he discovers another hole in the ground. I'm like, fill it with water. Meaning like dig a tiny little ditch, fill the whole hole so no one drops in it and dies. And Dave spends like 10 minutes going down, inspecting it, making a fence around it, making a waterfall in it. None of this is filling it in with water.
Dude,
like that never happens. He's like, there's underground caverns. I'm like, who cares? They're everywhere.
Maybe we should we should put it back on the audience. Would you rather see Dave make Minecraft videos or us never make DayZ videos again?
Yeah,
Which is the bigger torture?
There's a reason that when you guys bought me Minecraft in 2011, I played like 60 hours in 2 weeks, and then I uninstalled it, and I never played it again until like 2 weeks ago.
Until his arm started itching right here, and he was like, I think maybe I'm on vacation. What happens at the beach stays at the beach.
Just slip some Minecraft in my drink.
Okay, yeah, we just freaking spawned in the game, and we're just walking around. Dave is like, first thing, he's like, I've got a plan. Like, we're gonna survive. We're gonna build a settlement here. I'm like, dude, let's walk around and
you
see
get
stuff.
To be fair, Joel, right after spawning in, you fell down a giant pit and died. So
But that's fun. That was a fun.
It was pretty fun.
That was a fun experience, though. But then it was like, all right, let's just go down this hall. It was like, no, we got to build our tools. We got to get set. We got to plan our attack. Like, I'm just gonna go down this cave. I'm just gonna die by a couple zombies, and we'll figure stuff out. And it's boring. I'm not gonna go back in the cave.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, I discovered a giant cave system and came back up to the top. And Joel's like, Dave, come on, hurry up. Like, let's just go explore. Like, it's getting dark. Let's just go explore. I'm like, well, Joel, do you have a pickaxe? Like, you just died a few minutes ago. I was like, nah, we'll get it later. I'm like, Joel, we're going into a mine. Do you have any tools? Like, no, we'll get it later.
This is pretty much like making Norman.
Where are you just going to find pickaxes in the mine? There's a system, Joel. There's a system.
Yeah,
really, is
at least I
that
get
system
something
aimlessly wandering around a cave system going, ooh, some coal, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, some sand, ooh, some gravel.
You guys can prepare and perfect all you want, and then nothing will happen.
Exactly.
So.
That's exactly how Dave plays DayZ.
Done.
Guys, we got to go loot. We got to go here. We got to go here. For what? What's the goal? So we can go to the next town.
We can loot the next town that we already have looted up.
Jeremiah,
it's like,
you
hey,
haven't seen that Minecraft
anytime, no, Dave, I'm onto your game.
Day.
I'm onto your game, okay? Anytime a new DayZ patch comes out, they're like, look, they got a new rifle, there's a new flare, and there's a new outfit. And you sucker me into playing with you, and then we never find any of those things. We just wander around looting the same towns over and over and over again. And
Didn't you just message me earlier about going to find a tent?
Is
this going to actually happen?
Because Experimental came out, Jeremiah, in one town, I found the new shotgun, the new the welding mask, the skate helmet. I found a 1911 and like I crafted a backpack.
great.
Like,
what are you going to do with all that stuff?
Give it to you if you'll play.
No.
Oh.
See, that's not a good. What are you gonna do? What's the goal? What am I gonna do with all this stuff now?
There
I have
are
a shotgun.
3
What do
new
I do?
towns in the north. I'm
Right.
going to navigate north.
And do what?
Survive.
I mean,
In the survival game.
loot the
But
towns?
if you load in and Dave gives you all these things, you can survive for about 10 hours in the game.
But
In the
So you don't have to do
survival game.
anything. You literally could just jump in the game and do nothing, and you survive.
Actually,
or I could
no,
play another
not-
game and
not
do
anymore,
stuff.
Not anymore. Actually,
I could jump in the
because
game and do nothing.
While I was looting, Joel, I had to stop in a house because the thunderstorm was too thick and it was too
I'll just
cold.
go into a house and then I can stop and not have to do anything to survive.
I lit a little propane stove to keep warm as there was thunderstorm.
The
roared
survival
outside.
aspects have been getting a lot better. My point is, I don't like jumping in for incremental updates where they just add a few things, because the odds of me finding all that stuff to play with, like if there was an Arsenal version of DayZ where you could just play with the new stuff, that would be cool. But I don't want to wander around for hours on the off chance I find the lucky spawn, because most likely on the
James and I
experimental
find
servers,
everything.
it's yes, because you play for hours. It's a numbers game. Eventually, you have to hit. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's not very hard.
I will say Dave has gotten significantly better about engaging
He
firefights.
has. And I've gotten significantly more whiny about it, which probably those things go hand in hand.
Maybe you and I should play just
Over
by
the past
ourselves.
2 years, I've gotten less patient, I think. Two and a
No, me
half
and Dave,
years.
when me and Dave have gone off and just like we've done a little bit of looting, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of looting, a little bit of fighting. It's been
Mostly
good,
looting.
healthy balance.
Mostly looting, barely any fighting.
Our relationship is very balanced, Joel.
And most of the fighting is desperately trying to escape with all the loot.
Oh, okay. Do you want to hear something funny? I was talking with Dave earlier at work, and this goes for James too. I was like, I'm honestly praying for you guys' souls, because I hope DayZ doesn't go so deep in the amount of advanced things it's going to add. Like, I was just watching H1Z, it was E1 video, and it was a highlight video.
H1E1.
Sorry, whatever. H1E1 video, and it was talking about you can bury items and loot and stuff. And I was thinking, you know, if they add that in DayZ and they add these, like, all these abilities to, like, store your items and do all these things, I was like, I hope it never happens, because for James and Dave, like, that's all they're going to do. They're going to go from one place, bury their loot. Build this, bury their loot. Like,
They'll
it's
be like
just
a squirrel. They'll be like a squirrel going, "It's winter already. We're losing time."
I'm sad because they enjoy that, but that means they're only going to be experiencing 5% of the game. It's just going to be inventory management, the game for them. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. The game's going to be ruined for you guys. Like I told Dave,
Well, it is-
imagine, look at this. I told Dave, imagine you could go and find every piece like metal and you could craft your own weapons. It took like 10 hours to do, but you could craft your 1911, like handcraft, put a little name on the signature. I was like, Dave would do it. You know he would do that.
Oh, Dave would do
But he
that,
would
yeah.
never use the gun. He would like hide it. He would be like, hide it in a bush. No one will ever find it.
Joel knows me well.
And to be fair, it's an open world sandbox game. You can't tell people there's a right way or a wrong way to play it. You can do whatever you want. There's no, this is DayZ. You can play DayZ how you want. I play it how I want. So we're not saying Dave and James's way of playing is invalid. I'm just saying
not
I'm
saying
getting
it. I'm
less and
just-
less excited about doing it over and over.
No, it's just more of like, because they will do it, because, like, you know, if they didn't have that feature, they probably wouldn't care, like, whatever, they would just keep playing the game. But if the feature came into that where it was such an awesome inventory management, they would have so much more fun doing the inventory management than actually doing anything else in the game. But I'd be like, guys, you don't even need DayZ anymore. Just get the iPhone app, and you're like, look at this, drag my loot in, drag it back out.
It does have the Photoshop file. You can just or Illustrator file. You can just move stuff around in there. Just
That'd be awesome if he did that, like,
the way
during
he's
work.
smiling looks a little guilty.
Wait, have you done this, Dave?
I did get a lot of enjoyment out of photoshopping that Breaking Bad intro. I spent probably an hour and a half aligning
I
the
did get a lot of
boxes.
enjoyment.
I
One
wanted
last
it to be arranged
piece.
so that it was consistent. Like I wanted some guns over here, you get some food mixed in, some survival equipment. It had to be nice and even.
One last bit of mail. Grab and Go, who is in chat, just wrote in and said, "Hello, CSG. I'm starting a video game club at my school. I've already had the idea approved by a principal, and I've already got a sponsor for the club. I've made a survey for the first club meeting in order to make it easier to choose what types of games will be played. Please help me out by giving me ideas for this club, for I want to make all the gamers able to have their own time to play games." First thing I would say is, what's the club going to do? Like, I'd love to give you some ideas, but I don't quite understand what the club is for. If it's just to meet and, like, talk about games and then play them together or something, like, how much time do you have? Do you have a budget? Are people bringing consoles or PCs? Like, tell us what you want to do with the club, and I would love to give you some ideas, because if I had gone to a public school, I would have loved to have something like that at my school. That would have been amazing.
I wish I had friends.
Although, I say that, but when I was in college, I saw a poster on campus for, like, come discuss The Watchmen, and, like, all the complex themes in The Watchmen, discuss the book and the movie, and yada, yada, yada. I was like, oh, wow, I love The Watchmen. I went to the meeting with a friend of mine, and we texted each other 5 minutes in, and was like, we have to leave. This is so horrible. It was like, I hate to use the term neckbeards, but I mean, the stereotypes were so true. Like, the group of people in that room, I was like, how did you people make it all the way out to a public place, like, at 6 p.m? Like, there's not a raid going on somewhere you have to be a part of? I mean, it was... The kid,
Well, they just woke up.
The kid with me was like a World of Warcraft hardcore addict. Like, he was the type of kid who plays his Game Boy on one hand, listens to music on his one headphone, and plays World of Warcraft for like 9 hours a day. And even he was like, yeah, dude, I can't do this. We got to leave. This is ridiculous.
I had one guy in my dorm. He came to school. His parents paid for everything. He didn't go to any class, not even one class. All he did is play World of Warcraft. And somehow, like he came back the next semester and he did the same thing again. So, and like I was lucky enough that my parents didn't have any money, so I actually got some like I was able to actually get some whatever you call it, like help to go to college. But you know, people who could afford it, they spent like $30,000 to play World of Warcraft.
The first semester
like
you suck, and then you're on academic probation. You get a second semester to fix it. So you get at least 2 semesters of just coasting. I knew people like that. One guy, he came to school, he was going to be a business major or whatever. His roommate, second week, introduces him to WoW. He's never even heard of it. He doesn't even play video games. Turns out his crappy gateway can technically run it. He put in 27 days of playtime in the fall semester. 27 days. That's 27 24-hour periods. That's more time than I think I've ever played DayZ on either version of DayZ, and he did it in one semester.
We actually did some math on you guys, especially Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, Joel?
Yeah, which actually remind me, I'm going to bring it up before the podcast ends.
We can bring it up now. That was the end of mail.
Okay, I was going to say, remember we brought this up like months and months ago? Starting this coming Monday, everyone needs to log their time when you play game, and also YouTube videos as well. That doesn't matter.
Wait, log time for what? For YouTube videos?
Any playing games.
Oh,
like,
playing games.
Even
not
if you're like
recording
for a video, that's still playing games.
Why? What's the point of this?
Just to see how much time you're playing.
Okay.
Not judge worthy, but just to like get an idea how much time.
Like
there will be judging.
Yeah, I can't tell what your angle is yet, but I know there's some judgment somewhere in here.
I also want to say, track how much TV shows you watch. Just track each episode you watch.
Okay, so this starts Monday.
Mm-hmm, Monday. Okay. I just say we just do
this
for
could
1
be a
week.
really good weekend then.
For 2 weeks.
and play honest. This is not about going, oh, I'm gonna just not play games this week so we can beat people. No, just
well, that's not gonna happen.
It's gonna be a good, interesting, experience how much you play. I wish I love that Dark Souls tracks your time. I'm kind of pissed that some of the PS4 games like don't track it, like even like Destiny and stuff. Like, because I don't want to know how. Because I like
the app.
That's one nice thing about Steam is all I have to do is play for a week or two, and I'll look back and Steam will tell me everything I've done. So fantastic.
Yeah, well, not even to know that I played it so much, but also to go like if someone says, "Hey, is it a good game?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a 40-hour good game." I'm like, I played it for 40 hours. I say that's a great game.
Yeah,
because I played way more hours than I ever thought I would play in Watch Dogs. I'm still playing it. I beat the missions, and now I'm just doing the random driving stuff, even though the driving's not good. Like, I'm still going back to it. I don't know
what
why.
else are you gonna play on your PS4?
I just got my copy in the mail today, so we'll see how.
Oh, you got Watch Dogs?
Yep.
What else are you gonna play on the PS4, Joel?
It's like what?
What else are you gonna play? What game are you gonna go to on your PS4? Like, what are you just gonna pop in and play if you don't want to play Watch Dogs anymore? Battlefield, Madden.
No, right now I'm
Killzone.
I got Shadow of Mordor, so I'm playing that.
Okay. Right.
Killzone's not bad.
That's kind of like my single player. Yeah, Killzone. Actually, Killzone was really good. That actually felt like a next-gen game. I really liked it. The only part I didn't like in the whole game was literally the very, 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 very end.
Okay. All right,
very,
Dave.
very end?
Yeah, like the tippy end.
Just the tip, though.
Yeah.
Dave, do you have something else you want to talk about briefly before we shut it down?
Yeah, I'm calling this segment Ethan Carter with Dave.
I'm giving you 3 minutes, okay? I know exactly how this can go. Contain yourself.
I spent a lot of time at work today researching this article about photometric textures.
You know what I did at work today?
Them. What?
You know what I did at work today?
I don't care.
Okay.
Wait, did you write this off as work research?
I did actually.
Oh, gosh.
I'm never gonna get access to this many cameras, but it is pretty relevant actually. So Ethan Carter, a small indie Myst style paranormal adventure game, came out last week. I played through it in one sitting on Sunday. It's $20. It is a must buy. Playtime is roughly 4.5 hours. For me, it was 9 because I took screenshots of everything as I went through it. I really don't want to talk about what the game's about because it'll give too much away. It's a really great experience, if short, and it's also one of the best looking games I have ever seen in my life. And it's because they used a really advanced texturing technique called, I want to make sure that I am calling this
Called
correct.
retina
correct
textures.
There we go. It's called, and there's an R in there that always throws me off. It's called photogrammetry. Seems like a really awkward word. Photogrammetry. Essentially, what they do is they go out with a bajillion cameras. They wait until there's cloud cover so that lighting is neutral, and they take like 200 photos of a rock from every possible angle. And there is a third-party software that analyzes the lighting in all of these photos from every different angle and compiles a point cloud, a 3D point cloud, that then creates like a 60 million triangle high-density mesh of the object. And its accuracy, with just a little bit of cleanup, is incredible. I'm linking an article here in the description of this video and in the chat right now, where they have examples of just how this works. Once they have that incredibly detailed mesh of the object with the photorealistic textures, the artist then essentially builds a low-resolution game-ready model on top of that and just renders all that high-res texture and detail onto the game-ready model. And they have an object that's more or less like dropped out of real life. And they did this with almost every object in the game. Like all the buildings, all the trees, the stones are taken from real life and meticulously scanned. And the result, wouldn't you say, Jeremiah, is almost mind-blowing. Like it's hard to describe.
It looks insanely good, and it runs insanely good, which also confused me. It's an indie game that looks insanely amazing, one of the best looking games I've ever seen, hands down, and it runs buttery smooth, and I don't understand what's happening.
Efficient use of these high-res texture bakes is all it is. They knew exactly what they wanted, and this team of, I believe it's either 8 or 9 people built this game in like 14 months. And I was telling Joel, I really hope that they take this base they built, all these beautiful assets, all these rocks and trees, and expand the scope of something that comes next. I hope Ethan Carter sells well. But the game is called The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. The tech is incredible, and the game, I'd say the gameplay is easily an 85 out of 100. Story and gameplay wise, visually it's like a 99 out of 100. So $20, it's on GOG.com. Buy it there, you get the special edition with the soundtrack and all that fun stuff. I love all the GOG extras. The soundtrack is in FLAC on GOG.com. It's like a gigabyte, which is pretty cool. But I definitely spent like an hour and a half today absorbing this article. And actually, if you go down in the article, there's a 3D model viewer. You can click on the object and it loads it in the browser. After about a minute of streaming.
I'm looking at the person right now, the guy. His nose is so wrinkly.
Oh, I thought you meant the statue of Jesus. I'm like,
oh,
you know who that is, right? I'm looking at the statue of this guy. Yeah, they even photo scanned the people, which is pretty wild. But the cool little 3D previews of some of their work is really cool to see. So that's my tech nerd out for the day. I love all this 3D stuff, and this is some really cool technology that I think they used it in a really, really smart way. They knew what they wanted out of it, and they nailed it. It's good stuff.
Cool.
Dave, I could see you wanting to be a photographer for textures. Like I could see you making that your career.
I actually have been. I've done that a lot at my current job.
Well, I know that you do that a lot. I've been around you when you do that a lot. I've been on vacations when you do that a lot. When we're walking and Dave stops and takes pictures of a tree trunk because he likes the texture.
It's happened before.
Debbie just said she played the Ethan Carter video on her Retina screen. And I'm like, that makes me really wish I had a Retina display just to play that game on
Your
it.
MacBook Airs don't?
No, it does. Well, it does not.
And you know, your the Retina screen Debbie's talking about is the computer that you got at work and didn't use, and now she's using, right?
Well,
Very cool.
the game's not on Mac yet, right?
No.
I was trying to play the Elder Scrolls Online at Retina,
But I bet it's better on
it doesn't
Retina.
support. It doesn't support Retina or like that high resolution.
All right. Okay.
I just remember being really...
you watch. Oh, Debbie. Okay, you watched Dave's video. Okay, I thought you meant the one I put on YouTube. I was gonna ask how it streamed. The one Dave made and just brought locally. That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, I did a 4K render, I think, of that, upsampled, and let Debbie preview it on her MacBook screen. I was like, it's so beautiful.
All right, it is now time for Comment of the Week, where we dig into what the internet has for us this week and sort through the metaphorical filth to find a metaphorical phoenix rising from the metaphorical ashes.
I feel like Joel needs to read this one.
And yeah, James, this is almost just for you after the amount of the long, dark jokes in the last episode. You want to read this one, Joel?
I'm looking to find... Where are the comments?
It's got under my Ethan Carter with Dave. There's like a blue link. That's the... Don't read the username, obviously, but that's the comment. Jeremiah's hovering over it right now. It's right before the page break. How about I read the comment?
Oh, there. Sorry. Never mind. I found it. So, I like how he starts this.
And, wait. And just to set it up, the comment is on a video about the long, dark survival game.
More, please. I've had a metaphorical boner of mythical proportions for this game for almost 6 months, and I absolutely love watching you play it.
I don't know why you went with
your doctor.
I was gonna say, let me interject here. If your metaphorical boner for the long dark lasts for more than 6 months, please consult your physician.
And with that, guys, that is the podcast for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Yoshi, wow, you're super late, but you and Arrow, welcome to the podcast. We'll see you all later. And thank you, everyone. You can always write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. You can tweet at casualshenaniga, at evilviking, at JERMgaming. Joel and James don't use Twitter, so who cares? But we still like you guys as friends. You can contact them on Facebook.
Just follow me at normanthefilm.com.
All right, at normanthefilm.com. All right. And James, is there any way you want people to follow you?
Not in secret.
Well, as James says, I didn't realize my Norman Facebook page somehow is connected to my PS4, so when I share a video, it went right on there. And James is like, "Why is there a Watch Dogs video on the Facebook?" I'm like, "What the heck?" I go have to delete it. I'm like, "Hey guys, just working on Norman. Playing Watch Dogs."
Oh, and with that is the end of our show. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. And Dave, what should everyone do?
They should remain filthy casuals.